Information versus knowledge, which is important and why? Hi there, this is Kuldeep Iregodu, and in this particular video, I'll be discussing about the 7 major differences between information and knowledge, and what exactly is information and what is knowledge, why it is very, very important. At the end of the video, I will also tell you why you need to understand the differences between the information and knowledge. So in this particular video, I'll be using the mind map so to differentiate between both the aspects. So there is a clear-cut differentiation and it becomes very easy to understand also. Also, in this video, I'll be using some portion of Hindi topic as well. In the sense, I'll be talking little bit of Hindi as well, so that this covers for the people who are not able to understand English completely, because I'm getting a lot of calls and messages that please make videos in Hindi also, or at least use some small aspects of Hindi as well. So इसीलिए इसको हिंदी में भी मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा जो भी इतना कर सकता हूँ मैं, तो आपको इसमें थोड़ा ध्यान देके समझ लीजिए, और इसमें आप नोट्स भी बना लीजिए कि इंफॉर्मेशन और नॉलेज के बारे में क्या डिफरेंसेस चल रहा है, तो इसमें कैसा आप इसको यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं। एंड वीडियो के एंड में मैं आपको बताऊंगा ये किस तरफ आपका काम आएगा। तो चलिए अभी नाउ लेट अस डीप डाइव टू दिस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर ऑल द डिफरेंसेस बिटवीन द information and knowledge. So firstly, see, information is nothing but it is organized and categorized form of data. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? इंफॉर्मेशन एक ऑर्गेनाइज हो चुका है और कैटेगराइज कर चुका है, इसके बारे में एक डेटा है। Information is nothing but organized and categorized. Like for example, today's forecast is, if you take weather, today's forecast is cloudy, today's forecast is rainy. That's called information. Now, at the same time, if you come to the aspect of knowledge, it is nothing but the analysis and understanding of this information. It is the analysis and understanding this information. जो भी अभी now what we have discussed कि अभी आज बारिश होने वाली है, तो नॉलेज में इसको कैसे कन्वर्ट करते थे, इसके बारे में हम कैसे बता सकते हैं, इसके लिए स्टडी करते हैं। There are so many parameters which you need to understand, which you need to study. Then only you will be able to come to the conclusion that is called knowledge. Information is just data which is given, whereas knowledge is you make a lot of research, you find out, you come to the conclusion after analyzing and getting the various aspects of information into the knowledge. With that, the second aspect is that information here we use cognitive skills are negligible or less. Use of cognitive skill either almost nil hai. Abhi, if you see the knowledge part, here the cognitive, we use lot of cognitive skill. Without cognitive skill, you cannot come to the conclusion of knowledge. So what are cognitive skills? Cognitive skills are nothing but where you use your visualize, you sit and study, you make inferences, you analyze data properly. All these are nothing but knowledge or cognitive skills, which are more functionally used in knowledge. Whereas information, कोई cognitive skills नहीं चाहिए, no, not required at all. Just information आपने सुना, just process किया, हो गया. Here, this is not the way. You will understand, you need to study, you need to visualize, you need to make inferences, then you come to the conclusion that is knowledge, and retention is very high in knowledge. Okay, with that, the third aspect is every information is not knowledge. जो भी information आपको मिलता है वो knowledge नहीं हो सकता है, whereas all the information is knowledge, because data, organized and categorized form of data is information, and you analyze, you understand this information, you break down, and then this forms or generates in the form of knowledge. That is why all information is knowledge, whereas not every information will become a knowledge. So it is very, very important for you guys to understand and think how knowledge works and what information is. People just say, this is what it is, that is what it is, that becomes information. Whereas knowledge is you deep diving into that particular aspect, making research, finding out the ways, thinking, and then coming to a conclusion. That is called knowledge. With that, the fourth difference is that transfer of information is easy. In information, transfer of information is easy. Whereas in case of knowledge, transfer of knowledge is difficult. Overnight, you can just transfer the information, whereas knowledge requires a lot of skills, a lot of patience, a lot of practice. All that is very, very crucial in knowledge. Hope आपको समझ में आया. इसमें differences के examples के through हम समझ लेते हैं. Now, what are all these examples? See, transfer of information is easy. It is simple or straightforward done through internet, television, people, or etc. As I said, news, newspaper, information, internet. आपने पढ़ा होगा, read, heard. All this becomes information. See, this information is easily forgettable. आप जल्दी भूल जाते हो. कैसे? Now, see, you cannot keep the information for a long term. How? Why? Because you have just heard and you just ignore it, because it is not required for you also to keep that information in a more stable and for longer period. Whereas in case of knowledge, that is a different aspect. See, in knowledge, what happens? While transfer of knowledge is hard, and what happens here, you require a lot of learning and mastering that particular data. No matter what it can be any subject matter. You need to master those subject step by step, process by process. You need to understand. You need to think how this works, what happens there. How you need to visualize, and then you come to a conclusion. That is called as knowledge. Whereas, but once whatever the knowledge you learn, whatever you knowledge you acquire, that will remain in long run. That will remain in your mind for long term. वो लंबे समय तक रहता है आपके दिमाग में. Whereas information कल ही खत्म हो जाता है. जस्ट आप भूल जाते हो कि इंफॉर्मेशन, हाँ ये इंफॉर्मेशन मैंने सुना था, हो गया खत्म. नॉलेज वैसा नहीं है. आप एक बार पढ़ लिया और आप एक बार समझ लिया, उसको मेमोरी में ज्यादा देर तक बैठा सकते हो. दैट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन, फोर्थ डिफरेंस बिटवीन नॉलेज एंड इंफॉर्मेशन. So with that, now let us come to the fifth aspect. So what is the fifth aspect here? See, information is theory oriented. What do you mean by that? Information खाली एक theory के रूप में माना जा सकता है. So with example we will understand. Here everyone can give information. As I said, even small kids, big elders, anyone, they can give information, whereas they have heard. It is not through the experience, but it is only through the heard or information. Say, for example, X person will hear information from Y person, and Y person will hear information from Z person. That Z person will pass on the information to you. Now you are the A person. That is how the information gets passed on. Whereas knowledge is not that way. समझ गया? If not, I'll just repeat this. Information is heard from one person to another. एक आदमी से दूसरे आदमी के जो इंफॉर्मेशन पास करते हैं, दैट इज इंफॉर्मेशन. अभी इसमें क्या होता है, इसमें रिटर्न होता है, ग्राफिकल इमेजेस, वीडियो फॉर्मेट, साउंड, ये पूरा इंफॉर्मेशन का एग्जांपल हो जाता है. सो इंफॉर्मेशन इज ओनली थियरी ओरिएंटेड. देयर इज नो प्रैक्टिकलिटी इन इंफॉर्मेशन सॉरी. अभी नॉलेज में क्या होता है, इट इज एक्सपीरियंस ओरिएंटेड. इफ यू आर एक्सपीरियंस्ड, इफ यू हैव लर्न, यू हैव कम अक्रॉस दैट, then only you have driven those through experience. Understood? So with example we will understand. See, example, if you hear from a person who have experienced ki this is what it is, believe me, you take up this particular aspect, then implement it. That becomes knowledge. Though he is giving you the information, you need to implement that. You need to understand, you need to study. Then that information will turn up into a knowledge. Until then, it is just information. Once you experience, once you visualize, once you touch, see, manipulate, then only that particular information turns to the knowledge. And once you do that, it will retain in your memory for very, very long time. I hope this understands. This is purely internal or it is through personal experience. वो internal भी हो सकता है और through personal experience भी हो सकता है. That is knowledge. So with that, now what is the sixth difference in information and knowledge? The sixth one, information can be reproduced. As I said, information you can just keep on reproducing. Only thing is in the different format. Whereas knowledge cannot be reproduced. It is you who has to learn. You have to implement. You have to visualize. You have to break the data, and then that broken down data gets converted into knowledge. Hope this makes sense. समझ में आया होगा. हाँ, तो इंफॉर्मेशन रिप्रोड्यूस कर सकते हो, whereas नॉलेज को रिप्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सकते हो. खुद आप इसको यूज करना पड़ेगा, खुद आप स्टडी करना पड़ेगा, विजुअलाइज करना पड़ेगा. उसके बाद वो क्या होता है, नॉलेज आपके दिमाग में बैठते हैं. तो नॉलेज कैन नॉट बी रिप्रोड्यूस्ड. And one more thing, at the end of this video, I'll be leaving a link to download this particular mind map so that you can also download and make relevant notes. It becomes easy for you. So with that, the seventh difference is that the information alone is not enough or sufficient to come to a conclusion. Say if you're drawing any conclusion, आप जो भी चीज के बारे में conclusion draw करना चाहते हैं तो इसके बारे में information काफी नहीं होगा. Whereas knowledge is very, very important. So knowledge क्या कहता है? Knowledge is relevant information with the help of which conclusion can be drawn and also generalization can be made. तो आप knowledge में क्या करते हो? You'll be studying lot many stuff. You'll be studying so many things. You'll visualize. You'll analysis and paralysis of data happens. Then only you will make proper conclusion. Without that, no, you cannot make proper conclusion. So information is just information wherein you cannot make any conclusion or conclusive decision. Whereas in terms of knowledge, if you are thorough, if you master that, then conclusion you can just conclude in your fingertip. That is what it is. So these are the seven majorly differentiating factor about knowledge and information. So whenever you take up any aspect or any business or any enterprise, you should have proper and thorough knowledge before entering into that particular enterprise. Even if you enter into that particular enterprise, no problem. You have to acquire knowledge, not information. With information, you will drastically fail. Whereas with knowledge, you will succeed to a very, very great height. That is very, very important aspect which you need to consider before taking up any entrepreneur or if you are starting any enterprise. So just have this proper differentiation between information and knowledge. The more knowledge you have, you can prosper better. I hope this video has made sense and gave you the insight and differentiation between information and knowledge. In case आपको किसी पॉइंट के बारे में चर्चा करनी है तो कमेंट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए, मैं आपको उसका उत्तर दे दूंगा. ठीक है. सो कुलदीप इरेगोडू साइनिंग ऑफ अंटिल वी मीट अगेन विद द नेक्स्ट वीडियो. थैंक यू.